which is the most of any Premier League weekend so far this season. 7 of them in the first game, of course, at Ellen Road. 4-3 Leeds beating Bournemouth. 95th minute winner for Manchester City and Erling Haaland against Fulham. All square between Forest and Brentford. Wins for Brighton and Leicester on Saturday. And then today, in our 5 games, we've brought you another win for Arsenal. 11 wins from their first 13 games. And a debut win for Unai Emery in his first game in charge of Aston Villa. 3-1 against Manchester United. Another one for Newcastle. 1 defeat in 17 games, but another crushing defeat for Southampton and Ralph Hasenhüttl. West Ham, having won 3 out of the last 3 at home, beaten by Crystal Palace, who went away from home for the first time in 8 games, and Liverpool, who've now lost just 1 of their last 22 against Spurs. It's their first away win in the Premier League this season. So, as I say, that reduces the gap between Liverpool and Spurs, as you can see, to 7 points. Earlier on, Manchester United missed the opportunity to close that gap on Tottenham as well. Newcastle nudged their way up to 3rd, so they finished the day in the top 3. And Arsenal, in the first game of the day, went back above the reigning champions, Manchester City, and have a 2-point lead at the top. Southampton had the opportunity to move out of the bottom 3. They've wasted that. They stay in the relegation zone along with Wolves and Nottingham Forest. West Ham stay 15th. Aston Villa up to 13th.
Well played, Mo. Brilliant as a team in the first half, but did you have to pass a real test in the second?
Yeah, I think we were lucky in the first half. We played football, to be fair. We managed to score 2 goals, and second half I think we could score, but we were unlucky, and the most important thing is we managed to get the 3 points.
And if we start with the first half, the way the 2 teams matched up, then with the 3-5-2, were you very aware that you and Trent were the game for Liverpool, really?
Yeah, we knew we had to kind of take the game. We knew if they went 3 at the back that, me and Trent would have a lot of space, and it was up to us to, try and, capitalise on that. I think we've done that. I think we drove forward. We got, these boys up front on the ball, and, they made the magic happen. We knew first half we had to get off to a good start. We've not done that well enough this season, especially away from home. And over the season, Tottenham have been a bit slow starters, and they've been always better second half. So luckily we had a 2-goal advantage, and we knew they were going to come with everything second half. And the boys stepped up to it. It was a real professional performance second half, and we dug in, and we defended excellently.
Mo, you really do make it look easy with your goals, but just tell us, for both of them actually, the first touches, and with the second, that little touch with your knee as well, how important is all that to giving yourself a nice clean strike?
Well,
it's a mistake, that's why.
No, I think it's important. You always try to control as small space as you could, because also in the box there is a few legs there. I think second half I could also do the same, but I wasn't. I think I was confident that if I shoot in one time, it's gonna go in. But I'm always trying to have the good first touch, because it put me in a better position, and yeah, I managed to do that today.
And you've sort of dedicated your career to tormenting Tottenham, haven't you? Ever since Basel, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing.
They're a good one for you, though, aren't they? They're a good opponent.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's always tough opponent here or when we play home, but I'm always focused in the game and try to make a difference with the team, and yeah, I did today.
Why was the second half a struggle? Was that them being very good, or if you're really harsh on yourselves, do you expect more from Liverpool?
Yeah, I think, look, don't get me wrong, I think we could have been better on the ball. I think we could have tried to control the game a bit better, but at the end of the day, you're coming to, away to a top 6 team. They've just been booed off at half time. They've got a manager that expects reactions, and I think they got that. They were always going to be, a bit more in their faces, but I think we stood up to it. Like I said, yeah, we could have been a bit better on the ball, could have got Mo on the ball a bit more, Darwin, Bobby, but it was about digging deep. These lads put in an unbelievable shift defensively. I thought the 2 centre-backs were unbelievable at the back, and it was an all-round good performance. We played so well, and first half we played well on the ball, second half we played really well off the ball.
Mo, so many questions this season. What's going on at Liverpool? Is this week, this on the back of Napoli, is this the turning point now?
Hopefully. I think before we didn't want to lose, but that's football, and we have to accept it. But we managed to strike back a few times in the season, and we played very good games, like against City, against Napoli. Now, hopefully that gives us more confidence, and we just try to carry on and win games.
Okay. You ready to give this Player of the Match award over to Andy now? Or?
You can have it.
Well done, Mo.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Was in 17 in his career against Tottenham. Now you get clubs like that. And he was talking about his first touch there. I mean, yours wasn't bad over the years in that situation. In all seriousness, how important is that, and how big a part of his game in his finishing is that?
Yeah, well, it's everything, really. Your first touch is everything. Knowing what's around you is one thing, but then taking a touch, you know, to work that out is the next thing. I mean, that touch wasn't bad to start with, just to set up the move. It really, you know, put Liverpool on the front foot. But it wasn't necessarily, you know, a touch and a finish in two separate movements. That was almost one movement with a touch on his back foot, and he didn't hardly plant his foot to sort of, as I say, it wasn't in two syllables type of thing. It was 1-2 straight off. It was brilliant, and the ball was fizzed into him. He had to take the touch, but you see that's just brilliant. And if you take the touch and then plant your foot and then go again, then you'll get tackled. So it was just brilliant. And he thumped it into the bottom corner. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ball sat up lovely with his touch, and it was perfect for him on his left foot. But just the choice as well, the choice of what to do. Some people are fixated. They've already got their finish in their mind before the ball even comes. But he has the ability in split seconds to choose the right finish, to choose the right touch, to put it in the right place and then finish as well, which marks the great ones out.
He forced that move. You know, from the moment that come from the half-time, a halfway line into him, when he turns that one round the corner, he forces it, because then he follows the pass. Harvey Elliott then has to pass it in there. He's almost forcing the move, goes out to Robinson. He makes a real incisive run into the box, pushes everyone back the way, and then Núñez finds him in the box. But the second touch has got to be good as well, Mo.
Yeah.
I mean, Núñez's first touch is all right. His second touch ain't the best. So, yes, he's nothing without the first one, but Salah, it's a good news for Liverpool that he's back. It looks like he's back to his sharpness, because where's he been? You know, they need him. They need him now. And, you know, to push on after the World Cup for them would be outstanding.
And he anticipated when Eric Dyer made the error for his second goal. He was on his toes. He was on his way.
Yeah, but it was... As soon as this ball goes forward onto Eric Dyer's head, now look at Mo, look, you see, he knows he's there, so he should choose to head it up the field. But he continues with the same thing, but he puts that doubt in his mind, you know, and he takes his eye off it, because what Eric has seen in the corner of his eye is just the blur of red, and he knows it's Mo Salah. But now he panics, he takes his eye off it, hits him on the shoulder, and it falls perfectly for him. And his second touch there, off his knee, you know, off his thigh, you see it, it just nurtures it forward, and he entices Lloris. Look, now he comes, Lloris, you see him coming, he just sits him down, dinks it into the corner. This touch there, off his thigh, instinctive. You know, and he just sits, a little shimmy there he goes, sit down, and he just dinks it over the top of him. Fantastic. As I say, wonderful news, Mo, for Liverpool fans.
It is. I mean, he's in decent form now, and I mean, that's repetition, what he did there. That finish, that touch, that finish, that little jink just to send Lloris down, you know, before he lifts it over him. All that happens in split seconds, and it's just repetition all the time. Because I've said it many times on this show, he was an average finisher at the start of his career. At Chelsea, at Bars, he was, you know, he missed so many chances. But the more and more he gets, the better and better a finisher he becomes. And I think he put the pressure on Eric Dyer there as well. Normally, the ball would come over, and you would just like let it glance off your head to the goalkeeper. Eric Dyer saw Mo Salah running, anticipating, and he's gone like that.
Is that what you do as a striker? Place the seed of doubt in the defender's
yeah, and you
mind.
put the pressure on him. So all of a sudden, instead of just nodding it back and just glancing it, you see Eric Dyer actually having to flex his muscles to try to put some on it to get it back. And that's what, you know, it made the header difficult for him, because he's anticipated it. And that's what you're doing. You're an optimist as a centre-forward. These defenders are all pessimists. They've always got to think, right, if he misses
Thank you.
I'll be here, if he does. Whereas centre-forwards are always, he's going to miss it. He's going to miscue it or hit off his shot or something like that. You're always exploiting weaknesses and mistakes, and that's what Mo Salah does.
They're making too many mistakes. You know, Tottenham, you know, when it's crunch time, when, you know, it's just near at half-time, the last thing you want to do is concede a second goal there. You know, you've got to weigh up your options. I think
he's going to miscue it or hit off his shot or something like that. You're always exploiting weaknesses and mistakes, and that's what Mo Salah does.
They're making too many mistakes. You know, Tottenham, you know, when it's crunch time, when, you know, it's just near at half-time, the last thing you want to do is concede a second goal there. You know, you've got to weigh up your options. I think his choice was wrong there to head that back. He needs to head that up the field. I think Eric makes a poor error there. I was encouraged the way Tottenham come out in the second half and pushed it on.
Liverpool with Mo Salah now 14 goals in all competitions at this stage. That looks more like it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And he's a consistent source of goals. I think centre forwards will always, you know, go through little patches, little dry patches. I mean, we covered the Arsenal game at the start of the day with Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, he's going through one at the moment, but he's still contributing. But everybody goes through these little quiet periods. But overall, you know, the first season he came to the Premier League, he scored all these goals, and people were thinking, that's got to be a flash in the pan. He can't do that. He's never, you know, he's not a good enough finisher to continue. And he's just done it year in, year out. OK, give or take 3-4 goals, you know, but every season he's a constant source of goals. So, I mean, you know, people like that worth their weight in gold.
Let's talk to a man who's set a few up over the years. Thiago's waiting to speak to us live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Good to see you. Well played. How big a win is that to get back to 3 points in the Premier League for you?
Good evening. First of all, yeah, it was a massive win for us. I think it's the first Premier League win away that we have this season. And we had a bit of this game, a resume of the season. That first half we achieve our full potential, what the team is, with the ball, without the ball. And the second half is what have been so far a bit of this first 3 months.
Yeah, in that second half, when Tottenham gave you a reaction, how important was it to dig deep and stand firm like you did?
Yeah, it's for you guys, I think you have a big knowledge of football. The guys that we are in the pitch, we can also analyze, and it's simple. When we lost this kind of superiority, let's say like that, this kind of control of the game, we are very vulnerable. So it's like that. When we make 3 mistakes on the pitch, the people that we have to control the game, the team suffers because it's counter after counter, and we are not dominant anymore in the second half. So that's pretty much the resume of the second half.
Thiago, it's Michael Owen here. Well played today. I was just wondering, you've played obviously with some great centre forwards over your career. Yeah. Mo Salah was the difference in today's game. Just give us a little bit of insight in terms of what his strengths are, what makes him different to other players that you've played alongside.
Well, for sure, he's one of the top forwards, wingers that I played in my career. And it's the consistency that he has, not just in the pit, but outside of it. His work ethic, how he wants to help the team, how he wants to help himself. So I think it's that hunger that defines the strikers in those days.
Thiago, were you aware that Tottenham have been slow starters this season, and is that why your Liverpool side flew out of the blocks today?
Well, I'm no one to analyse Tottenham's way of playing for this first 3-4 months. I think they're doing amazing. You just have to see in the Champions League where they are. You can see them in the league where they are as well. So congrats of this beginning of the season. But yeah, it's difficult. At the end, you are playing every 3 days. There's a World Cup around the corner. Mentally, people can be very doubtful, having the head 50% here, 50% there. So it's normal. At the end, we have to accept it's a different situation, different context that we have been in football history.
And just finally, Thiago, one more game to go. You've gone 7 points off the top 4 before we break for the World Cup. It's been a super week. If you can get one more win, is that important to go into the break with that momentum and closer to the top 4?
First of all, game on Wednesday, that's the most important thing right now, and we are just focused on that. And what brought us here is that we just think the next game, doesn't matter the 7 points, 10 points, 50 points ahead that we have the next team, is just focus on the next game.
Well played today. Appreciate you.